Welcome in to a Sunday night edition here of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet. Shout out to the crew over there at Go Chevrolet. GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Who dat on a Sunday? Saints looked incredible this afternoon. 38-3 winners over the Green Bay Packers, where they just dominated them. Jameis Winston, 5 touchdown passes, including a bomb at the end to Deontay Harris. Something the Saints have been missing. We'll talk all about that, but we jump right into our centerpiece on Sunday night. Every Sunday evening, we catch up with one of the top defensive ends in college football. Had a nice night last night with a sack, couple of stops. Was a little banged up last night with Central Michigan on the horizon. But last night, getting a home opening win, we welcome in the Jordy Culotta Show's own BJ Ojulari. Big fella, how we feeling, man?
I'm feeling all right. Feeling good about the win last night.
Absolutely, bro. How about your health? I saw you a little banged up last night, but came back in after it. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I just tweaked my shoulder a little bit, but it's bad. The training room didn't fix.
Tell me about yesterday, man. It's been a long time. I mean, you're a freshman All-American. Your freshman season was obviously behind COVID restrictions, and you didn't play in front of a full-capacity Tiger Stadium. You never experienced the Tiger Walk. You never had game day in Tiger Stadium. What was yesterday like for you?
Tiger Walk was incredible. It was so many people out there, and just going on the field and seeing everybody in the stadium was amazing. The student section was electric. So the atmosphere definitely was way better than last year. Everything
you expected, bro?
Yes, sir.
What was this week of work like? Last week, obviously, during this conversation, you were bummed out due to the outcome of the opener, but said that it was going to be a big week of work ahead of you guys. How was preparation for last night's game?
Preparation was good. We practiced well. We really just focused on ourselves. This game was really just to get back to the LSU standard.
It seemed like defensively you guys had made some adjustments from last week, and you guys were flying around out there. What did you make of the defensive performance?
I think we performed very well. We're not where we're supposed to be, but we're taking like one step at a time each practice, and we're going to get there before we start this SEC play.
A lot of young guys with opportunities last night, with some guys not dressed out and not playing. Mason Smith is an animal, bro. You were in that position last year as a true freshman. What are you seeing from him? How does he help you guys out in the interior? And what do you expect from him as you guys jump into SEC play in 2 weeks?
He's very dominant. He's a great pass rusher, and for an end, it's just great to feed off him and his pass rush. You're gonna get a lot of sacks off him, but he's good. He has a great mindset, and he's gonna be a great guy depth wise in the D line, and he's gonna make a big impact as a true freshman.
What's that like being counted on as a true freshman? You were counted on last season. You were a dominant first-year player in college football. Is there any pressure in that type of situation? What's that feeling like?
Yeah, there's going to be a little pressure, but as the season goes, you're just going to become accustomed to it, and you're not going to feel like a freshman anymore.
You guys finding some leaders in the locker room right now, early on in the season, is before you guys get into it? How's the leadership on this team from your point of view?
I think the leadership is going good, coming great. We got some leaders on the defense. I know Andre Anthony, Damone Clark, Derek Stingley. Those are the guys on the defense who's really vocal leaders, leading us in the locker room and leading the defense.
How's it been with Durante Jones this week? How's it been with your first-year coordinator? I know a lot of adversity last week. How was he handling it and getting you guys prepared to play last night into this week?
He handled it very well, I believe. First day back in the meetings, there wasn't really any too much pressure. We just had to get back, fix the things that we messed up on against UCLA, and just get back to focusing on us and beating McNeese.
Andre Carter, the picture of him with the pads on was pretty intimidating, bro. How does that fly with you guys? How is it training with him? How's it working with him? What have you learned from him? A longtime pro, a very successful pro player, and it looks like one of a coach who really gets his message across.
Oh yeah, he definitely gets his message across. intimidating, but he's a great man. We learned a lot from him. He played in the league for so many years, so he's bringing a lot of stuff to pass rush wise, attacking tight ends, attacking tackles, hand placement, and all that good stuff. We learned a lot from Coach G2. He teaches a lot. He came from the NFL as well. So both of them together is just a lot of information that we can soak up from them to improve our game, which we have.
BJ Ojulari is joining us here, standout SEC defensive end. You can find him all over social media. He's on Instagram. He's on Twitter. He's also a Rock Nation athlete who's represented by Rock Nation Management with that group up in New York. What is today like for a D1 athlete that played plus 40 snaps last night? They got a little banged up. What is a Sunday like for you?
Wake up, go to the training room, just get the necessary treatment and nutrition that you need to get back and start the week on Monday. Get your massages, chiropractic adjustments, and stuff, all that good stuff, and watch some film on the iPad. Just fix your mistakes. Bro,
did you feel bad for Cody Orgeron?
I mean, we as D linemen, you never feel bad for a quarterback. Yeah.
What was that had to be a hell of a position for O, man, because he was getting crushed back. I mean, it seemed like every time he turned around, y'all were in his face.
Yeah, I mean, Coach O, he's very competitive, so it's just part of the game. So we just had to do what we had to do.
At what point do you start looking at Central Michigan? Do you know anything about Central Michigan, or at what point do you start scouting them?
I'm probably going to watch some film on them tonight on my iPad, see what how their tackles play, and tomorrow we're going to dive into it deeper with the coaches and see like their scheme and more explosive players.
Have a great week of preparation, bro. I got this gear for you. I got to get this to you at some point. I'm going to get it to you here over the next couple of days. We appreciate our partnership as always. Great game last night. Get yourself healthy. Best of luck this week, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you, BJ.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There is BJ Ojulari checking in from LSU football here on this Sunday night as we'll touch base with Kayshawn for Booty Calls tomorrow night, who had another magnificent night. I saw last week that he was the leader in the country in touchdowns. He was tied for the lead in the country in touchdowns. He has 2 more last night. I don't know where that puts him as far as the pecking order goes, but I mean 5 in 2 weeks. My only complaint about Kayshawn would be that he doesn't touch it enough.
Which is crazy.
He doesn't touch
that
it enough.
You say that.
I mean, it really does not. Well, and even as we watch Sean McVay call plays here on Sunday Night Football with the Chicago Bears visiting the Rams tonight at SoFi Stadium and find themselves down 2 scores here at the start of the second quarter. But Robert Woods and Deshaun Jackson are 2 playmakers in the NFL. Woods a little bit more than Jackson just due to the age, but you can see the creative ways that a play caller like Sean McVay does, goes into play calling to get these guys the ball. And you would think with the way that Kayshawn impacts this offense seemingly every time he touches the ball, and like we said here a couple of weeks back, it's not going to take long for defenses just starting to flood coverage to him and start to try to take him out the game. So you're going to have to be very creative on how you find him, how you get him incorporated. I love the jet sweep with him last night. I love the little.
That's a touchy subject here for some reason because of the Matt Canada effect that people don't want to see that anymore.
I love.
But I think that's
sweep.
a good. Yeah, that's good to say. That's a good little wrinkle to throw in every now and again. It doesn't have to be. Look, I understand people are object to if you're gonna do like a million motions every play and that turn people off. But that is still a wrinkle that you can throw in, and what they did with Kayshawn Butte, I think, works because, like you said. There's a way to get him the ball in space to where it doesn't even matter how you do it. Just get him the rock because it's not enough targets at this point. And he has, 5 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Yes.
He is currently leading the country as a receiver in touchdowns. He's tied for second with some running backs with 5 touchdowns.
I mean,
with the jet sweep, it's just
another way to
just put the ball in his hands.
That's another way to eat some food.
Yeah, right. Feed him, man. I mean, he has been dynamic. He has been electric. Through the first 2 weeks of the season, especially with his ability to make plays after the catch. I mean,
Slippery.
he's like a running
Kamara.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he very much is like Kamara. Speaking of Kamara, speaking of the Saints, 38-3 today. Saints absolutely dismantle the Green Bay Packers in Jacksonville. I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know if it was the venue. I don't know if it was the state, the sunshine, whatever it was. The New Orleans Saints dominated the Green Bay Packers. Their offensive line looked like the best in the league. Their defense looks like a top 3 unit when they're playing like that. And they don't even have guys like David Onyemata out there playing. Was Quan out there?
Quan was out there in 5. Dude.
I mean,
he
looking
looked
great.
electric.
Bradley Roby still hasn't come in. That's going to be the number 2 corner.
Yes. I mean, they've got more players showing up. They've got more players that are going to be there. They were flying around the field today. Rodgers at points looked very un-Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he just like one time dropped back and just uncorked one off of his back foot into double coverage.
Big ol' fuck it.
Marcus Williams just said, I mean, give me that. And I thought he was going to pick 6 it for a minute. But just, I'm just gushing over the Saints. I mean, Jameis Winston, 5 touchdowns. Sean Payton has been waiting on Jameis Winston or somebody of his caliber of talent for 4 or 5 years now. I mean, really. I mean, it's just...
it feels
even
like
his
the
legs
play
look great.
calling.
I was going to say, it feels like he's been kind of wanting Drew to be out the door
Yes,
for a couple
absolutely.
of years now. And Drew held on, and I understand that because, I mean, I've made this point, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it seemed like he had the entire locker room behind him. Like,
Yeah.
they had people coming back to make sure, like, all right, Drew's last ride, you understand what Michael Thomas, like, put himself through almost to make sure he was available for the playoffs because they respected Drew that much in the locker room. But what you see offensively, and I don't know if maybe Sean Payton was showing off a little bit for Aaron Rodgers to be like, dude, do you not want to be in this offense and this defense? Like, we're set up for this to be a... I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with Jameis. I mean, it was fun. Tonight was fun.
Why?
Because he only... How many times did he throw the ball? 20 times? Like, it was easy. Dennis Allen is going to be a head coach next year. The defensive coordinator for the Saints will be a head coach next year.
14 of 20, a buck 55 touchdowns.
He DTR'd us. That was a Chip Kelly offense. Everything that he called worked. So I would imagine if you're Aaron Rodgers, like, I can do that and some. Right. With that defense and with the playmakers, you get Michael Thomas back. I think Sean Payton was flirting a little bit with old Aaron Rodgers. Just tossed his skirt up a little bit.
It was as good of a Saints performance that I can really remember. I mean, that was as dominating of a performance.
I think the Bucks the second game against the Bucks last year.
I always go back to the
Tampa. I mean the New England game on Monday night
when they just throttled them.
They beat the hell out of them.
When they have both Belichick and Tom Brady looking at the scoreboard
he pulls Brady.
Yeah,
he sits Brady that night.
Who was it? Who's their backup? He's still in the league.
Yeah, no. Was it Matt Castle?
No, the other one.
Ryan Mallett.
The other one.
No.
Bald went to Michigan State. Shoot.
Heward?
No,
I mean the Hewards are all
they
backing
walked
him
him
up for a
out there,
while.
but it was like 40-26, and they walked out, like whoever it was back there. But like they were both. There's an image of them both looking at the scoreboard in the Superdome, where they're like, I don't think I know how to stop the Saints offense, and that's what you kind of got from Aaron Rodgers tonight, where he was looking at him going, holy shit, if I can be a part of that team, why not?
The Saints were very intimidating to the league today. Even though the NFC
defense.
South, I thought really good start to the year. I mean,
like the SEC.
Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and then Carolina. Joe Brady with Sam Darnold today, beating the Jets. What had to feel good to him, Sam Darnold hooking up with Robbie Anderson for a long one. The 2 former Jets. Joe Brady getting a lot of love around the league. I was locked in on Red Zone today. I mean, the Red Zone is just a total game changer, bro. It is such the way to watch football. First off, I can't drink anymore. I threw up this morning.
From the red wine?
From the red wine. A couple of glasses of red
we're
wine.
heavy on it, though.
And some cigars. And, bro, I woke up like I was, batching.
It's not shocking, but it's funny.
I mean, just tolerance of a lightweight, dude.
Dude,
and I mean,
you were sucking that cigar last night. It's like, you might be in trouble. But you were holding your own. You were there. You're just like, maybe he's just happy.
Yeah,
It's like,
well, I
that's
guess
gonna
so,
come
man.
back to
No,
get him.
It came back and got me. It came back and got me. So I spent the morning
Knows the shit.
puking. And really, we went to
Dude.
breakfast. It was one of those things where it kind of crept
wake-up
up
call?
on me. It crept up on me. Like, I mean, I
That means
woke
you
up.
woke up still drunk.
Little Jay went to was at a friend's house, and when we woke up, we got him, and we went straight to breakfast. And as soon as I smelt
Food.
something, bro, it just, I mean, I got up from the I left everybody at the breakfast place
You had a college hangover.
and drove home and puked at the stoplight. Like, as I was driving home, I had to stop. Like, people were like, yeah, hitting the horn, and I'm like, I didn't even care. I mean, the car was still in drive. My foot's like coming off. I'm like almost like floating out into the center of the intersection. I mean, bro, I felt like a kid. I just the last time I can't even remember the last time I drank. And a half a bottle of wine, bro. And I mean, it looks like I had been on a bachelor party all weekend.
I think it was the cigar on top of that will get you, but
Yes, I did tell you the cigar. I'm done with cigars, bro. I'm done with
you
cigars.
can't be though. Y'all were ripping them and made it so cool.
Yes,
It
but
looked
I don't
very
give a
cool.
damn, bro. I don't care. I don't need the verification.
Dude, I was over here wondering like how much like can you do? And I was like, okay, he obviously smokes cigars, and obviously you do not. Because I was like watching you do it, and I was
No.
like, damn, he must like smoke cigars like on the regular. Because you're
You
just
would think.
chiefing this thing. And I was like, I'll smoke cigars before when I've been drinking, like, get this thing fucking
Yeah,
away from me.
right.
And you were just
Yeah, dude, just heaving.
you
it.
look like the penguin.
I was kind of stressed last night, like if we had any more, because I was smoking.
All right, now talk again.
Mic check.
I don't know what's going
Speak
on with
to
this
me.
thing.
Well, you're the one that needs to know, bro. I mean, like,
We're up. We're up. I can see
You
it
sure?
bouncing. We're bouncing. We're
All right,
bouncing.
all
We're
right,
bouncing. Nobody heard your vomit story.
Lloyd is puking now. Obviously, people did.
Dude, I don't get nervous about that anymore because it can't be my fault. This thing has to be, it's plugged in. After that, what do you want from me?
So,
It to work?
what about the Bengals, bro? How great was that game?
Their defense surprised me.
They're good.
Their defense looked great.
They're good. I mean, like they scare that today. I would imagine that the league is kind of on notice that the Bengals are going to be a problem. You know what I mean? Like they're not. They may not be. They may not be a deep run playoff team, but they're going to be knocking on the door of the playoffs. Like they're starting to climb the ladder now.
I mean, Dalvin Cook's supposed to be a top 3 back in the league, and they held him to 61 yards on 20 attempts. I mean, that's 3 yards a carry.
No, y'all are.
Kirk Cousins is bad.
Kirk Cousins is bad, and he's anti-vax, so he's just out there being a wild man. But the real story for me is Joe Burrow calling an audible on 4th and inches in overtime with absolutely no regard for human life.
Beautiful play.
And it was obviously 4th and inches. He wants to hand it off. That was the play call, either quarterback sneak or handoff. And he goes, alert, alert. This tight end was fumbling himself around to get to open
Beautiful
space.
pass.
And
He dropped it to him. Dropped it in the
flicks
bucket.
it to him, and he sees it, and then he headbutts his fucking offensive lineman. He's like, let's go.
It was amazing.
Well, I mean, did you see him chasing Jamar down on the touchdown when he pushed him? That was so good.
cried.
I mean, that looked
I
like
cried.
it looked like the Clemson touchdown.
It was exactly that.
It looked like it
LSU
was.
posted a video with it like mashed up together, and it was
LSU,
identical.
I mean, Jordy Culotta show did it.
Yeah. I wish.
But I mean, he roasted that guy. I mean, first off, he stood straight up off the snap, and you could tell Chase put his head down to like start sprinting, and he was almost like a Randy Moss, like put the hand up, throw it, bro, I got it. How many catches? What was his stat line today?
I think it was 5 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown.
100 yards, touchdown. I didn't know if it was 5 or 7, but I mean, what ball or what? No stripes or stripes, doesn't matter.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
I love that. I love they hated on him.
Yes, he
Did you
did too.
did you see Burrow's press conference? He followed Chase up, and Chase gets up and he like sits down. He's like they're like, thank you, Jamar, thanks for coming. He like grabs his keys and his phone off the podium and like gets up and moves out. And Burrow comes and sits down, and the first thing he says into the microphone, no, he goes, I thought he had a problem catching the football. And everybody's like, I mean, you can tell people are like want to laugh. Some people do laugh.
Ben Baker's in there like,
right.
do we talk about your teeth yet?
What about the swag Burrow pulled up in today? The white high tops, the
He's
blue suit.
unbelievable. Like,
I think what was his stat line at halftime? He only had 2 incompletions.
I think he was 26 for 30.
At halftime, or
For
at the end of
200.
the first quarter, he was 11 of 13.
Yeah, he was 26 for 30 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns at the end of the first half. This might, to bring this back to an LSU conversation, it might not be a Joe Brady offense. It might be a Joe Burrow offense.
It was a perfect marriage.
I mean,
They were football soulmates, bro. They were football.
How hard are they trying to
soulmates.
get him in Carolina? Like, even Sam Darnold looked fine, but give me Terrace Marshall. What do I have to do to get Joe Burrow? Like, what's the contract? What do we have to do? Because that thing
Or
is
opposite.
humming.
I mean, or
oh, that might be the easier way to do it.
the easier way to do
Definitely.
it would be that, because I mean
He loves his offensive. I mean, he loves his coach.
he loves
Yeah.
his coach. He does, but I think he would. I mean, if they were like, hey, we can get Brady.
He would not blame.
I mean, like, I mean, how do you say no to that? How do you say no to
looks so
reuniting
good.
those guys? But the Burrow Brady, Burrow Brady marriage in football to me is as close to football soulmates as you'll ever find. And for as much as it was a blessing to Ed Ogeron, it could be the biggest downfall of him because of him now chasing the Joe Brady ghost. And
Or Joe Burrow ghost.
Yeah, Joe Brady or Joe Burrow ghost, and trying to recreate that, when I think it's very unfair to ask even a coordinator, much less a player, to try and emulate what 2019 was. 2019 was such a perfect storm of so many things that came together for that LSU football program. Kind of on a granular level, the LSU offense experienced so much for that season that you'll never be able to recreate that. And I think the more and more you talk about it, the more. I mean, even yesterday, if you were watching the game on the broadcast, I forget who was the color, but he said that they asked Ed Ogeron, "What are you trying to do with this offense?" And I'm trying to bring back the Joe Brady offense. I'm trying to bring back 2019, and the guy's like, I mean, I hear you, but
What does that mean?
Well, they asked him at his radio show on Wednesday night. They were like, "What's the plan with the offensive line protection, the running backs, blah blah?" And his first thing was, "Well, we want to be like in 2019 where we can." And I was just like,
yeah.
If I hear 2019 again,
I mean, it's gotta be just so cringy to the people inside that are like, man, you're a football coach. Like, quit referencing the past. I mean, football coaches are all about on to the next day, on to the next play, on to the next whatever it is.
It's never 2 years
And
ago.
it's never about chasing ghosts of the past. And it really is. I mean, it is cringing at how much he talks about 2019. I mean, Brock Heward, I thought, did you see Brock Heward's interview with him last week at UCLA when he's like, Coach, what's your plan on offense? He's like, well, we're trying to get that Joe Brady offense back and back. And Brock Heward goes, what does that mean? Like, what is the Joe Brady offense? Like, he was like, what is the Joe Brady? I mean, he was like,
Get the ball in space.
Spread it out. Basketball on grass. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, you don't even know what you just want to recreate this Joe Brady 2019 offense, and you can go get this guy and bring him in that runs a couple of cool formations and gets tells the quarterback to get the ball out of his hand quick. But you can't do that. You can't go say, hey, Picasso, who do you recommend we hire to paint our wedding portrait? And Picasso say, you should probably get this guy. He's been an understudy of mine for a couple of years. He's really passionate about it.
But he's been around.
He's really passionate about it. I spent a year with him, and he's really good. And for you expect it to be Picasso, the joke's on you.
Well,
I mean, like it's not ever going to happen again.
You have to tell him what to paint. You can't bring him in and go, okay, if you're Picasso's understudy, like the reference you're making, it's like, all right, go paint. It's like, well, what do you want the painting to look like? I don't know.
2019.
Right. What does that mean?
Oh, the best painting ever?
When you have the best quarterback
You know what I
maybe
mean?
of all time
Right.
in college football history, 3 first-round picks, like, well, I don't have that paintbrush. I don't have these tools to make this look that way. And I think it's very telling for Coach O to be up there and be like, I want it to look like this, but I don't know how to make it look like this.
Right.
Like, that's the disconnect. It doesn't matter who the players are, who the coaches are. If you don't really know what you're looking at, he's relying on secondhand references to make these hires. It has to be a little terrifying.
Yes.
Because what did you see last night that made you confident? Nothing.
Nothing.
What did I see last
Nussmeier.
night? What did I see? Cade York.
Yeah.
Your kicker's your best player.
You cross the 50 and you can kick the field goal.
Avery Atkins making tackles.
Earning 18.
He was about to. You talk about throwing up. Oh,
Yeah.
Avery Atkins was about to throw up after he made that tackle. His head hit the turf so hard. He's like, people were trying to like hang on him, and he's like, "I'm good. I'm good.
Get off
I'm good.
me.
Give it
Get
off
away."
of me." Like Jordy in the morning.
It felt like me, man. It felt like I came
can't
down on
believe
a
that.
kickoff. and
You
made a
were
tackle.
fine.
I was fine. I was fine until 10. I mean, dude, when I caught the whiff of it was either bacon
Just
or
food.
Yeah, it was some type of smell that, I mean, it punched me in the
I
face.
can't believe you drove home.
Me either. Well, I did make it home.
Well, just the move to get in the car. You
Yeah.
left people at brunch.
Yeah. And I
Why
called
did you
them.
just throw up at the...
I don't know. I panicked. I panicked.
You could have thrown up in the parking lot.
I mean, it was an epic
You pee in
panic.
parking lots.
It was just a panic move. Next thing you know, I was on the interstate,
You're throwing
going
up.
like 55, sweating, cold sweats. I mean, just miserable, bro. Ran 2 red lights. One with a camera, one without.
We'll get that ticket later.
I even faked the guy next to me because I went on red and he thought that it was, you know what I mean? Like he kind of
Just
saw
trying to
me
get
go.
He was like, oh.
So he came with me. I kind of brought him with me into the intersection.
You're cold sweats. That's a cold sweat move. Like, I'm throwing up now.
I was down. Like I was kind of driving.
Look like what's it? Like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes,
Trying to
I mean, dude, it was horrible. It was terrible.
Christopher Reeves.
It was bad, bro. It was bad. It was bad.
No breakfast then.
No, one meal today. I'm going off of one meal.
That's unbelievable. Like, I mean, it was fun last night. I didn't think it was that much fun.
Yeah, me either.
You were
Me
fine.
either. Yeah, it was fine. Nothing official from the program out there, but there is a ton of smoke about John Emery being done for the season. If so, nobody's really surprised on this, right? I mean, this isn't shocking to anybody. Yes, this sucks. This sucks for LSU's offense, but like we said to start tonight's show, I think Armani Goodwin is LSU's best running back. It was good to see Corey Kiner get some run last night. TDP is a good back that you can count on for a couple of series per half to get in there and feature him, but he's not your featured back.
He needs
for
Armani.
an SEC school. You need another punch in there. You need another, just a complimentary back to TDP that he will be effective. And I think Armani Goodwin is the best of what is eligible right now because it was the second week in a row that John Emery is swinging a towel with street clothes on. And it looks like that could be a permanent decision or at least up until December. So if there was a bowl game, he could possibly be eligible there. It would not shock me, and this is just me speaking, and this is no information. This is just kind of the platform that we have to give opinion. It wouldn't shock me if John Emery never takes a snap at LSU again.
Damn, I mean, that's my take. I said it 2 days ago.
Yeah, but I think that's probably the common theme. I think people out there, they've almost just given up
to the fact that he's not going to play again.
And if he does, can you really count on him?
Well, even if you're John Emery, do you not think that you can either hop ship and go to a Kentucky this year? Like Trey Bradford is probably going to take snaps for LSU this year.
Yeah.
Like, would you think that he's going to play?
Absolutely.
So why would you not think
as soon as he becomes eligible, he'll play?
Right. John Emery can do the exact same thing and go somewhere, maybe in Oklahoma. But they're going to get this thing cleared up. LSU, and we got to get this thing figured out. Like, you can't have a Dare Rosenthal leave, and you can't have a 5-star running back that you have based much of your offense off of. Look what they did with Christian McCaffrey in the NFL today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where
Joe Brady.
That's where Pete's is coming from. That ability to get those people out in space and get them the ball. And it seems like they focused a lot of that attention on John Emery this year for him to not be eligible. He's not going to sit around and not play for an entire year,
right.
I would imagine. Like, if you're Kentucky, scoop him up and come put him in. If you can do it at LSU for Trey Bradford, you say there's no free agency in college football. It looks like there is.
The transfer portal?
Yeah.
He's going to play this year somewhere.
John
They're going to
Emery?
get that shit straightened out.
Yeah. No, I agree
Somebody
with that.
can make that happen.
Yeah. Watch Georgia swoop in and get him again.
They need offense.
Yeah. No, it is. It'll be frustrating to see Emery go because I believe that will be the play.
Not only frustrating, but to see two of your stalwarts, your left tackle and a running back that you expected to play a lot, both gone because of what?
Did you see Dare Rosenthal was playing last night for Kentucky?
I know. That's what I'm saying. But it's all because of what?
Compliance.
Compliance.
Yeah.
I thought Bo was gone.
Well,
They got to get that, sweep it under the biggest, darkest rug you can find. Who cares anymore, really? Am I wrong?
No, not at all. But it's been the stance for 8 years, bro. I still haven't gotten over that they throw Tyrann Mathieu off.
That's the problem.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, that is amazing that
It got to that point.
it could get to that point.
It shows the levels of it.
It
like
does.
how far they will go.
Like, it's nobody's off limits.
Yeah.
Nobody's off limits. Your starting left tackle shocks you in 2021, yet they threw the best player in the game, maybe the best player in program history, off of, up to that point, before Burrow. This is PB.
That's how we should name it. Yeah.
Pre-Burrow.
That guy.
But, he's the second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, behind Burrow, he's probably the guy.
If you want views,
and Tyrann Mathieu got thrown
Tyrann
off
Mathieu
the team.
video.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's what no, you're exactly right, but that's how electric he is, because you can just go post a sophomore year highlight of Tyrann Mathieu, CBS will do it, House of Highlights will do it, and you'll get 1.2 million views because it's the most electric thing you've ever seen. There's never been a college football player play like that, and LSU had the gall,
the best,
to throw him out the team.
Unreal.
Like,
Still
they have to get
day.
that house in order.
It's amazing that happened at LSU. All right, so good stuff from BJ Ojulari tonight. We'll have more takes tomorrow morning on the weekend that LSU was. The week ahead with Central Michigan. Look out for Central Michigan this week. This will be a telling week, in my opinion, for LSU football. This feels like one of the only games left where there'll be a favorite going into it, and I don't know how much they'll be chosen by here on McElwain's crew. This is Jim McElwain, who is the former Alabama offensive coordinator,
loves a shark,
former head coach at the Colorado State program, former head coach of the Florida Gators, accused of loving to hump sharks naked in the Gulf of Mexico.
Is it him?
It sure did look like him when it came out.
Sure looked like him.
Do
you want to know the official spread?
Yes.
20.5.
Wow.
Should we hammer? Should we hammer Central Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, I would hammer Central Michigan right now.
Because Central Michigan
is going to score.
They put up 475 yards against Missouri in game 1.
No doubt. And look, that 10-point spread that Missouri beat them by is a little deceiving. That was a close game. Missouri scored one late to get that thing up to 10. I mean, that was a heavyweight fight. And I mean, Kentucky, Missouri last night. Kentucky is a bad matchup for LSU.
Yeah.
Arkansas is a bad matchup for LSU. And the way that Missouri played Kentucky, Missouri at least hung in there and played a physical game with them. And if Missouri's that physical and Central Michigan was able to hang around, I'm telling you, McElwain is bringing that team down here believing that they are going to win. If nothing else, he is going to have them with the mindset of, hey, guys, I've played spoiler to this stadium. I've played spoiler to this program. I've nearly played spoiler to this coach. Because if you remember in 2016 when Darius Geis went the wrong way on the goal line, that was Jim McElwain on the other sideline when Ed Ogeron was still the interim head coach. And that was the week that really all the Tom Herman smoke started to billow out of LSU's athletic administration, that they were really kind of needled in on trying to get Herman to Baton Rouge rather than having to settle for Ed Ogeron.
Where is he?
Todd
Chicago
Herman. Bears. He's an offensive analyst.
Oh, they look great.
But so McElwain is not going to be intimidated by the moment, by Tiger Stadium at night, by anything that's going on. And like Noah just pointed out, I mean, he's going to put up numbers offensively.
How many inflatable sharks can we get in the stadium? Can we do a Jordy Culotta push to get just a ton?
I would love to get a logo on a shark. The Jordy Culotta Show logo on a shark that was being beach balled around the stadium.
Exactly. This might
Lloyd,
be
that raise you keep asking for. You make that happen.
That's for once.
You make that happen.
I am working 7 days a week.
Asking about.
You make that happen, buddy, and we can talk. We can talk.
How big of a shark?
Creek Dweller. Would Woodward fire after 4 games? Here's the
deal.
If he
loses to Central Michigan, he's fucking toast.
Possibly, but I don't know who on the staff who would be the interim. Like, who would you name on this staff? Yeah, I don't know if Corey Raymond wants that. I really don't.
But
I really don't.
It's just
maybe Mickey Joseph.
That's the only two that I've thought
maybe Mickey Joseph, just because Mickey is a great people person. You know what I mean? Like he
because they know they're not going to be the head coach,
right? But there's nobody on this staff that you can really trust the just the weight of this job with.
Isn't that an indictment on itself that you don't have?
Yes, absolutely, it is. And as Ogeron has shown, I mean, just countless times over the last year and a half, I mean, this thing is way too big for him. You know what I mean? I mean, this job is just. There's a look in his eye now on the sideline. There's a feeling to him at the look at Drew Brees' hair, bro. I mean, like, that is comical.
It's Lego hair.
I mean, that is amazing.
It's a fucking plug.
That he looked at that and said, "We're going to do this. I'm going on national television, and nobody's going to think that this is
nobody will be the wiser."
I mean, like, this is nuts, bro. I mean, it looks as if somebody sketched that onto his head.
Not only that, but he's having to break down the Saints defense while he's watching Aaron Rodgers get roasted and Jameis Winston throw for 4 touchdowns. And he's like, oh, probably that I'm the reason they suck. Yeah.
So I don't know if they can make a move on him in the season just because of that. I don't know who you would trust in the program to run it. I don't know who would be the interim head coach.
But if you have to pick.
If I had to pick, I would give it to Mickey Joseph.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think Mickey understands it. He can handle it.
Not Corey Raymond.
No, because I don't think Corey Raymond wants it.
I know he doesn't want the smoke.
And Corey Raymond is really, something that I don't know if he wants this out in public, but I think people know this that know Corey. I mean, like, he stutters a little bit, so he doesn't speak well in front of.
I don't think you'd have to do that.
Crowd. We got to speak in front of a team. I mean, he's a very good communicator to the defensive backfield, and he's got those guys as tight and as close as any unit in that building. And that's their guy. I mean, all of those guys go to war for Corey Raymond. I mean, that's their dude. But I don't know necessarily if he's got that relationship with the team, right? Mickey Joseph he recruited a ton of these guys.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? He's been knowing them since they've been in 10th, 11th, senior year in high. He knows their family. He knows their uncles. He knows their aunts. He knows their grandparents.
They're in good hands.
Yes, he knows all those people, and he's a good communicator. You know what I mean? He's a motivational guy. You wouldn't lose anything from a position coach, really, if you moved him. I mean, DJ Mangus, for all intents and purposes, is the wide receivers coach. You know what I mean? I don't think that Mickey would have a problem telling you that. So, I mean, you could kind of slide him in and just let him drive it to the finish line with the understanding of, Scott Woodward is behind the scenes finding his guy.
It looks so weird.
So, I don't.
I hope it doesn't get to that.
Yeah, me too. And
what would it take? Like, I think it would be Central Michigan and State losing both those games back.
I don't think. I mean, this is just
full.
me talking. If he loses Central Michigan, it's a 9-iron, get him out of here. Like, tee him up, get him gone.
Doesn't everybody get the feel by getting the feedback from people and just hearing people talk about it, like they're over it? You know what I mean? Like, people are almost kind of like reserved as
regardless.
if he's cooked already.
Right.
I mean, the people that I'm just talking about, fans.
My bad.
Just people that will, DM or interact with us. I mean, people are almost
over
past it. Yeah, they're who's next?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Who's the list? And he kind of feels like that too, if we're being honest. You know what I mean? He feels kind of like,
there's no saving this thing.
Is this thing over yet? You know what I mean? Like, is this?
He's playing the violin on the Titanic. He's just going down with the ship, and there's no way to salvage it. He knows that. Like, if he wins 10 games, what does that even do? Because it feels like people have made up their minds.
Yeah.
Especially what you saw last night. You're putting up 17 against McNeese in the first half.
4 for 16 on third down.
When you had to go for fourth down twice.
In the same drive.
Three times.
3 times. But I'm talking about the same
Twice
drive.
in the same
Three
drive.
times in the first half.
And you're playing
They scored. I believe they scored their first touchdown on fourth down.
No, on fourth down. And you're playing against your son.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is how hard you have to try to make the offense work. It doesn't work. And then everybody's excited about a 1 for 5 from Gus Bus. Nussmeier.
Yeah.
Like, that was the most exciting part of the game.
It was the most exciting part of the game.
And I'm not here to start a...
Well, I don't think there is a quarterback controversy because Rohan spelled it out last night perfectly. Look, you're going to get the same growing pains
regardless
with either guy you go with. Because Nussmeier has a little bit more juice in him. I mean...
But what does it take for Max to push the ball down the field? He hasn't done it.
He needs
won't
some
do
confidence.
it. He's terrified to turn the ball over.
He needs some confidence.
He
needs to hit one. Yeah, he needs.
You got the perfect guy.
A big play.
And he had it last night, and he underthrew him. He had the one. Like, Kayshawn had the corner beat. All you got to do is just put it in front of him. He had the touchdown. He just put it behind him.
And he wouldn't pull the trigger.
That's the most concerning part, is him not trusting what he's seeing.
Well,
Jameis trusts what he sees.
I think he sees it, but he doesn't want. He's so scared to turn it over.
Because and I think it goes back to last year, to the point where it was, well, look at how careful he is with the ball. Look at what he does. Well, he manages the offense. So I think he took that to heart. And when you have your dad, that's Brad Johnson, who says, "Look, I won a Super Bowl never turning the ball over. You can do it that way, Brad. You had the best defense maybe of all time."
Right. Yeah.
And I think, like, it's not an indictment on his father, but that's how he's probably been brought up. It's like, if you're a quarterback, don't turn the ball over. But at this point, we got to see some shots down the field.
A little risk reward,
especially last night when your defense is playing like that, not giving up points. It's okay. It's okay to turn the ball over.
I agree.
Man, that offensive line,
they
struggle. Man, they just. That's one of those things where I don't know how you fix it, and it's also where you hate to miss those reps for guys like Deculus, Ingram, Hines, where, they just need them. They just need the cuts. They need the reps.
And to work together.
No, and 20 and a half is not enough.
But I saw an IG Live. They went live with Dare Rosenthal, like the rest of the defensive team. Like Jay Ward, a couple of those cats were going on IG Live, and they were talking up. Desmond Little was out there after his little,
Yeah.
and they're like, y'all gotta watch for 5'9". He goes, he ain't got no bag. And does a little. They went to him. He goes, oh, I got all the bag. Don't you worry about that.
He ain't got no ass. He can't fill out his uniform. I mean, we were talking about it last night. LSU doesn't look like LSU. They don't have those freaks that they're known for. Kirk Herbstreit, he said a little bit about it yesterday. I mean, he was like, where are the guys? Yeah. Where's the pride at LSU? Where is that mentality of, I mean, just that you're here and you're a freak athlete. I mean, it just, they don't look the same. They don't move around the same out there. They don't, you know, I mean, Desmond Little made a good play, but his pants were falling off of him. I mean, he's got no, they got no size.
Got no ass.
They just got no, they've got no size to them. They don't look like these, you know, I mean, where's Ricky Jean Francois? Where is Michael Brockers?
Jackson.
Where is Arden Key? Where are those types of guys that look, I mean, like Stingley looks like that. Ricks looks like that. Brian Thomas Mason Smith looks like that.
Mason Smith looks like
but
that.
I mean, there's not one that looks or feels like that on the offensive line. There's not one that looks or feels like that in the running back room. I mean, Armani Goodwin feels like he could get there, but you hadn't seen enough to say he
looks good.
He does look good. He does look good. But I mean, even at that wide receiver, I mean, outside of one, you know, it's like, I mean,
BTJ.
Jack Besh.
Jack
Besh is a dog. You know what I mean? Jack Besh is checked in. Jack Besh needs to touch the football a lot more. I mean, I fact-checked my deal last night. Every time he's touched the football through 2 games, it's a first down.
Yeah.
He's moved the chains every single catch that he has made. I mean, there's got to be creative ways to work him into the game plan. And I thought they did an excellent job at that last night of not only getting to him early, but staying with him. Right? Like keeping him involved
in the game.
Right, because he makes you, I mean, like the team, you can feel the team, they're all fired up and picking him up, and he's first down, and he gets the crowd into it, and he's moving the chains.
He gives a shit.
Yeah.
He's just a player.
He has the pride.
He's just a player. I mean, getting the ball.
Pride.
Is that not the thing that we complained about the most after the first week? Which like it seems like they're checked out. Who was the one person that was not checked out after even one catch?
Right.
Was Besh. Like that was the guy that you can tell he bleeds purple and gold. Like,
well, not only that, he's a player.
But he wants it to work. Like
yes.
he's like, y'all are all down on this shit. Like, F that, let's go. Like first down again. Like, give me the rock. But you say that about who fills out the uniform, and I think Ricks does, I think Stingley does, but I don't know how many times they're putting these people in position to succeed. When you look at how long it takes for Max Johnson to get to that crosser.
Right.
Like, that's what he wants to get to every time. There's no check and go to the go ball. It's always like pump, wait for Besh to come across the middle, or Boutte to come across the middle. Like, he's very comfortable in what he did and what he found success in last year. And he's got to kind of get off of that. Like, they have to find a different way to get him comfortable, because you can tell what he likes to do, and the offensive line isn't good enough to give him time to do that.
Yeah, it's
concerning.
Well, it is, and he's still processing, man. He's computing it. You can see it. I mean, when he kind of jumps up into that pocket, when it's starting to collapse on him, rather than kind of spinning out, showing his athleticism, keeping it alive, and looking down the field and finding these guys, it's it's just not there right now, and the whole thing feels very shaky. The game plan feels shaky. After they get past those first 15 scripted plays, it's like they can't really get something that, it's like they're throwing a lot of stuff at the wall. You know what I mean? How many times last week did you hear, why aren't they running the ball outside? Why aren't they running screens? You see all that in the first 15. First play of the game, they pitch it to Armani Goodwin. He picks up a first down, rolls his ankle. You know, a couple plays later, throw a wide receiver screen to Kayshawn where they send him in motion, send him back. Right. I thought that was a beautiful play. Yeah. Just get it to him. You're finding out who's guarding him, who's one-on-one with him.
It's not that hard. It doesn't have to be that complicated because, I mean, you're the best advocate for this. Whenever you watch Ole Miss play, you see Lane Kiffin There's no difference between, there's no way you can tell me that Max Johnson is a worse quarterback than Matt Corral.
Also, look up, fellas. This is a bad year to be struggling in the SEC West.
They're coming.
The SEC West is everybody is good. Arkansas is good. Kentucky. Well, that's the SEC East. But, I mean, even Texas A&M yesterday with going into Colorado. And I know people, don't give me this crap about Texas A&M being bad. I'm not here to tell you that they're back. But you just look at the way they play. You look at the athletes.
Lost to Arkansas.
No. Texas A&M went to Colorado yesterday and won 10-7.
Lost to Arkansas. Okay.
But yeah, Texas got rolled by Arkansas.
That's another SEC West argument for Arkansas being able to put up 33. I didn't mean to cut you off, but my bad. But I mean that's another indictment because they're doing the Coach O model.
Yeah.
Arkansas is, and they look like they're put together.
Sam Pittman's specialty, in my opinion, is the offensive line. And if you look at Arkansas's offensive line, they are dominant. And when you look at LSU's defensive line, I feel like they could be dominant. Like if they rolled Gay, Ojulari on the ends and put Roy and Smith in the game and then gave me, a couple of backups that Joe Evans, Neil Farrell, saw a couple of snaps per half, but those guys were on the field the majority of the time, I feel like they would be hell to block for 3.5 hours. I mean, Mason Smith is a wrecking ball. He is, to me, he's unplannable. You can't plan against that guy because you really can't account for he's probably going to be stronger than your interior guys and just shove them around. Like on the snap of the ball, he was just walking people. I don't know that McNeese, that offensive line is not the SEC. And it's probably not even going to be Central Michigan, but he is so much bigger and stronger than the first 2 weeks of competition that, I mean, haven't we all seen enough to say Zero doesn't need to come off the field?
Right.
Unless he's tapping his head saying, I need a break. I need a breather. I mean, keep him on the field as much as possible right now. First off, to get him the reps, get him in shape, but he's the best you got. I mean, Rohan said it last night. I would line him up over the center, put him at a natural nose, put him just head up with the center, and all night just shove on that son of a bitch. Just shove him all night. Beat him up. And by the start of the third quarter, I mean, there are going to be guys that are tapping out on Mason Smith. He is a bull. And he doesn't play enough. I mean, like it's sometimes it's confusing to see how they rotate. It's confusing to see how guys haven't played. I mean, Corey Kiner played last. I thought he looked good in spots. He could get a carry in L.A.
Right.
I mean, like it just. I don't know. You still Sage Ryan. Still wondering.
Still haven't seen him.
Where? I mean, he's got to be good enough to play, right? I mean,
Chris Hilton didn't get out there yesterday. And then, let's see who else. I mean, Derek Davis got to play some at safety.
Him.
He got to get out there.
I saw he's not big enough.
He's not. I think Sage Ryan should get on the field
before
he does.
Me too. Like
Sage Ryan's got a bad back. What does that mean?
I don't know.
But to your Mason Smith point, there's no way he's not a 3-down player.
Yeah.
When you see everything that he's done,
like Mike Jones last night.
Right.
Where was he last week? That guy can run like that. I mean, like
he's
after
a coverage backer.
They're pushing this narrative like he wants to only play middle linebacker. Like
I don't care less.
You're not.
What did you tell him in recruiting? What were you recruiting? Like, I mean, like
why were
you knew who
him?
you were gonna be.
Right.
You knew what you were going to get him for.
You think you're going to come to the SEC and play middle when you couldn't play middle in Clemson?
Right. And then I watched that guy run last night, and I say to myself,
"You're a first-round pick."
Dulcich had 3 catches for what? And you had who guarding? And this guy can run like this? I mean, just if nothing else, hey, 19, get out there and guard 85. Wherever he goes,
Remember
you run
the
with
Titans.
him. Well, I mean, just not even that, but I mean, it's just like this guy was on the bench last weekend, and you got beat like that.
Imagine him.
Well, we didn't have a plan for him. How? How does that happen? How do you not have a plan for this type of player when you watch film and see that they've got a tight end that is going to be his top target? He's going to look for him nearly every time, especially when it breaks down. and the guy's got potential to grab 3 catches and go over 100 with a score. I mean, and 19 doesn't play. It just, man,
sit like this.
Just what? And then he gets out there last night. Looks like a freaking gazelle. Looks like Jabril Cox running around out there. I mean, he really does. He's just fly around out there. I mean, I know you still got to get his feet underneath him and you got to teach him scheme. But I mean, in a situation like that, 19, keep 85 in front of you. Don't let him behind you. And if they look at him, make a play. I mean, that cat looks like a playmaker. You know, I mean, it just, I don't know, man. There is a disconnect with coach to player messaging at LSU that just is so obvious from the outside looking in, whether it's the body language of the head coach, whether it's the canned answers in the press conferences of the head coach. And I don't need any information in post-game press conferences. I know that you're not giving up any information, but let's change the messaging a little bit from the last, 8 games, 9 games. I mean, to go in there and hear the same stuff over and over again about things that need changing. I mean, it's I don't know, man. My frustration level of watching LSU football, in just their what could be, the ability of what could be and what they're settling for, is just, in my opinion, it's inexcusable. It really is, with the resources, with the money, with the facilities, with the recruiting ground. It cannot struggle like this. It cannot ride a roller coaster of success to these types of moments, in my opinion.
Dude, you speak to the struggles for what it was, 17-0 versus McNeese at half. That is not, like, if you could have polled every LSU fan before the season even started, what do you think the score would be? 34-0, 42-0. Like, they thought this thing would be rolling.
And then we come out of the half and go three and out.
3 and out. Like, this thing's broken. It's broken.
And that 17 was like you were scratching and clawing.
That's what we were talking about. You went for it twice on 4th down for the first touchdown. Like, that's what you do against Alabama. That's what you do against perennial powers in the West. You don't do that against McNeese to have to. He was proving, like, hey, we got to get points on the board, and it's not going to be a field goal.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Look, man. I think this is going to be a big week for LSU.
This could be
this is going to be.
It's bigger than people think.
A week that some things could either be answered or some things could be exposed. This Central Michigan team is
20 and a half about to get hammered.
Is probably it could be worst case scenario. This feels like
DEFCON 5.
It could be a Troy type situation all over again. But this team's better than Troy.
What would make you think differently from LSU standpoint? Nothing. Right?
That I've seen?
Right. There's no reason to think that this game won't. Like, 20 and a half is an absurd number.
It is. Well, I mean, that's just
going to be a.
That's just a brand. That's just a brand recognition.
Vegas is just leeching on to some people, but it could be a money line win.
We'll be back with you tomorrow at 7 a.m. We'll have some Saints news. We're going to talk to Ross Dellinger, and we'll talk to Derek Stingley Sr. I may have to cut out of here a little early before 9 a.m. tomorrow. Some stuff happening up at the school, bro. Don't even get me started, man. Don't even get me started.
Tooth?
No.
Throwing up?
7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Go Chevrolet. Shout out to the crew. GEAUX. Chevrolet.com. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning. Thank you for everybody who has interacted with us. Make sure you like, share, tell a friend. If you haven't commented on the comments, make sure you are subscribed. If you want to get there and subscribe to the page, we very much appreciate that. In fact, I think that Ed Ojulari is probably the most transparent Division I head coach that I've ever met. I mean, he gives you, he'll give you information on injuries. He'll give you information on guys that are available. He'll give you guys information on guys that are suspended. So, I mean, as far as his transparency goes, I don't think that Ed Orgeron really is matched as far as anybody that gives you the type of the information that O does. But it just, LSU football right now just has a stench around it with O and his leadership. And it is...
Yeah, it's not a smell you want to check twice.
It's something that is getting more rotten, it seems, by each week because of... I don't know. It just seems like the inability for Orgeron to corral this thing. I mean, it doesn't feel like he can get a grip on the entire scope of the job. At this point, it feels like very much like it is too big for him from everything. Just the execution on the field to the public relations off the field. Everything seems to have swallowed him up. And it looks like sometimes when you check out his body language or you hear him speak or you see him and his reactions. I mean, that reaction that we pointed out earlier this week of him trying to pull his hair out of his head and it looks like steam should be coming out of his ears on the practice field. I mean, that is very much an emotion that you look at when you're just spent.
He's throwing a tantrum.
I mean, you're gassed.
He pulled his hair off and put it on Drew Brees' head.
Brees.
The hair.
I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks back. Everybody needs somebody in your life that says, I wouldn't do that.
I think you might be on the wrong side of this.
What do you mean?
Of the Drew Brees hair thing. And everybody else is like, it's wild, but it looks good. What, he's going to be bald out there? You can't be that mean.
Bro, just be yourself.
He doesn't know who he is.
I mean, just be who you are. I mean... Are you going to watch the broadcast now that he has hair?
It looks better that he has hair, yes.
So, I mean, but that's not going to be the deciding factor.
So you want him up there? You want him up there?
Watching the game?
How would he look without it? You'd be like, oof.
He would look like Drew Brees. It's the same guy that we've been looking at for the last decade.
No, he's had a helmet on for a decade.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen
really
him on the sideline. We've seen him. We've seen his picture. We've seen his headshot. We've seen. I mean, it's not like as if you saw him without a helmet for the first time on NBC Sunday Night Football. You would be like, hey, who's this guy?
Dude, if Jason Witten can pull it off. Where it's just you get through these first 2 weeks, and he's like, I guess this is who I am now. They don't want anybody bald in there, apparently. If you're in the booth, you can't be bald. It's not his fault. They asked him to do it. There you go. Where you wearing a hat?
Own it, dude. Own it, man. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning.
Bald as hell. That's the thumbnail.